Yo, what's up, guys? Welcome to the episode of Racco Unfiltered. I hope everyone enjoyed their Canada Day long weekend. For us NHL fans, Canada Day long weekend is always a special weekend because it's also the start of NHL free agency. Now, guys, look, the Leafs made a lot of good moves yesterday in NHL free agency, but they also made some very good re-signs over the weekend as well. And let's start off with the first big re-signing, which I really liked, was Max Domi sticking around with the Leafs for another 4 years for $15 million with a cap hit of $3.75 million a year. Now, guys, I have to say I love this move for Max Domi, and I love that the AAV is not that long, and also the term is also not that long either. I think 4 years at 3.75 is perfect for Max Domi. And we all know that Max Domi is a heart and soul guy for the Maple Leafs, obviously because of the ties he has to the Leafs with his father, Ty. And we all know Max Domi had a great second half of the season playing on a line with Austin Matthews. Hopefully that will continue into the new season, of course. But I really like this signing for the Maple Leafs and Max Domi as well, guys. And I think Max Domi will progress next year. And hopefully he will have a big goal-scoring season as well, on top of the assists that he had this previous season. He had a really good year in assists, but unfortunately his goal-scoring contributions weren't as high. So let's hope for this year Max Domi can produce a little bit more goal-scoring-wise and keep the same pace passing-wise, specifically to guys like Austin Matthews. Hopefully he has another big 60-plus goal season with Domi on one of his wings, of course. Now, another signing that I really liked was Joseph Woll, sticking around for another 3 years at $3.66 million a year, which is about $10.9 million over the course of 3 years. But guys, we all know what the big concern is with Joseph Woll. It's health. Obviously, we saw what happened with Joe Woll in the playoffs, of course, at the end of Game 6. Joe Woll was obviously spectacular the game prior, and then Game 6, of course, he was amazing. And then, of course, he gets hurt in that last second of Game 6, forcing him out of Game 7, unfortunately. And you know what, guys? I'm willing to take this risk with Joe Woll because I think Joseph Woll can be a number one goaltender if he overcomes the health issues. I think Joseph Woll, guys, is a really good young goaltender, and I think he can really help this team moving forward. And I really like the gamble for him, and it's also not an expensive gamble as well, of course. So I think the Leafs are telling Joe Woll, we're going to take a chance on you, but you got to prove it to us that you can be a number one goalie and staying on the ice. But again, guys, I really like this move for Brad Treliving and Joseph Woll, both of them sticking around like this for as long as possible. Domi and Woll both staying for a little bit longer, of course. And I love the move from all parties around, like I said. Now, one move that I'm not crazy about, guys, is re-signing Timothy Liljegren for 2 years at $3 million a year and $6 million in total over the 2 years. For me, guys, Timothy Liljegren has been with the Maple Leaf organization long enough. He has shown what he is capable of, guys, and I just don't think it's enough to stay with the team. Now, Brad Treliving clearly thought otherwise and gave him this extension for only 2 years, but this is kind of like a bridge deal almost. He has to prove himself now. If Liljegren does not improve in these next 2 seasons, and especially elevating his game in the playoffs, I think the Maple Leafs need to cut their losses with this, guys. Personally, guys, I think Liljegren should have been cut this summer. Honestly, I did not want the Leafs to re-sign Timothy Liljegren. I felt they could have put that $3 million to somebody else. I really just don't like Timothy Liljegren's game. I think he's a good puck mover, guys, but when it comes to the playoffs, I just think he shrinks in the big moments. He's not very physical. And like I said, guys, in previous series with Boston, I've seen him shrink. And he has disappeared in games. He has never elevated himself for the big occasion. And I'm very skeptical about this move. But we'll have to wait and see how Liljegren does upcoming season. But I'm not crazy about this signing, guys. I'm not crazy about this signing at all. And then we got Matt Murray sticking around for another year as the third-string goalie, replacing Martin Jones. Matt Murray's going to make about $875K. That's what he's going to make. So I don't hate the move for Matt Murray. Obviously, last year he was on LTIR for most of the season. He had hip surgery, of course. He came back at the end of the season, playing with the Marlies for a little bit. I think Matt Murray can be a good third-string goalie if the Leafs need him, if there's any emergencies, of course. So I don't hate the move for one more year, less than $1 million. Matt Murray's a Toronto boy. So I don't hate the move at all. So it's a good move for both sides, of course. Now, let's get into the free agents that the Leafs had signed yesterday. And of course, obviously, guys, we got the big fish that the Leafs lured yesterday, Chris Tanev. Now, obviously, the Leafs traded for his rights the night before with Dallas. And obviously, the Leafs now had the negotiation rights to talk to him. And the Leafs decided to give Chris Tanev a 6-year deal for $27 million at $4.5 million cap hit. Now, guys, right off the bat, Morgan Rielly finally has a right-handed defenseman. Finally. After all these years, Morgan Rielly has finally got himself the perfect partner on defense. Guys, Chris Tanev is not the best offensive defenseman, guys, but when it comes to shutdown defense and going up against the other team's best players, he's one of the best. Dangle mentioned it yesterday and a couple days prior, of course, that he went up against guys like Nathan McKinnon, of course, and Jack Eichel, and he shut those two down every time those two were on the ice. Those two had to be on the ice with Tanev not on the ice for them to be able to produce any points in the playoffs when they played Dallas. So this move for Morgan Rielly, guys, should hopefully free him up, get some more offense in his game, and Tanev should be able to help Rielly just solidify his game. Chris Tanev is going to be like his safety net, always going to be around. Let's just hope, guys, that Tanev can stay healthy. I know a lot of us hate the term. I'm not crazy about the term either. But we all think that Tanev is going to probably play 4 years of this contract, and then maybe the other 2, he ends up on LTIR, Robidaw Island, of course. But we'll have to wait and see. But guys, Chris Tanev signing with the Leafs is a fantastic move for everybody. Obviously, Tanev being a Toronto boy, of course, right? He played for the likes of Calgary, so Treliving has a bit of history with Tanev. So I really love this move for the Leafs and Chris Tanev, obviously. Let's just hope that he can stay healthy. That is the biggest concern going in with Chris Tanev is health. But other than that, guys, Chris Tanev is an elite defender, and he is going to help elevate Morgan Rielly and this D-core. And I really love this signing. Now, we also signed another defenseman, Stanley Cup champion Oliver Ekman-Larsson. Now, Larson signed for 4 years, $14 million at $3.5 million a year, $1 million less than Tanev. Now, Ekman-Larsson, he had a very good season with Florida, of course, winning the Stanley Cup. He had a very good season health-wise. He played 80 games in the regular season. So Ekman-Larsson, guys, obviously he didn't have a great spell in Vancouver. Went to Florida, and now he's a Stanley Cup champion. And now he's coming to Toronto to hopefully help out their D issues. He'll probably play on a line, guy. I'm thinking on a pairing with Timothy Liljegren. I think that would be the most suitable pairing. Of course, you have Liljegren and him. You'd have McCabe and Benoit. And then you got Rielly and Tanev. I think that's a pretty decent 3 defense pairing for the Leafs so far. And I really like the Ekman-Larsson signing. Now, he's not as good as Tanev stay-at-home wise, but I think he's way better offensively than Tanev, of course. So he's going to help the Leafs off. To help the Leafs up in a lot of ways. I really like this signing, guys. I'm a little bit skeptical giving him 4 years. I would have maybe given him 3, right? But listen, I'm not going to question Treliving. The Leafs have really solidified their D-core a little bit with these 2 signings of Tanev and Ekman-Larsson, and I really like it. Moving forward, of course, instead of looking at, guys like TJ Brody, who was an absolute mess this season. Okay, I'm done with that guy. Thank God he's gone. So now we get some proven veterans and your champions to hopefully help elevate the Leafs game. And now, speaking of champions, the Leafs also signed another Stanley Cup champion, Ekman-Larsson's teammate, Anthony Stolarz. The Leafs signed him to a 2-year deal for $5 million, a $2.5 million cap hit per year. And guys, what else is there to say about Stolarz? This guy is an absolute monster. Okay? He is 6'6". Okay? As a goaltender, you just hope that the puck hits his body with a guy being that big. Now, I really like the signing, of course, because he's going to help alleviate some pressure off Joseph Woll. Like I mentioned, of course, Joe Woll has a bit of injury history. So Stolarz, hopefully he'll come in. He's going to get some more game time, of course, than he did with Florida because they have Bobrovsky. So I hope Stolarz comes in, gives Joe Woll some time. It helps alleviate the pressure for Joe Woll. And I think Stolarz could be a very good tandem with Joseph Wall. And I think the Leafs are a little bit better in goaltending than they were this previous season with Ilya Samsonov, of course. And they had Marty Jones playing a quarter of the season because Joe Wall got hurt, of course. So that's going to be the big question mark, guys. How many games will Stolarz play? And how often will Joe Wall get hurt? And how often will he be healthy? That is obviously a huge question mark. But I like what Treliving did with the goaltending. It's obviously a little bit better, but it's obviously a big question mark still going into the regular season. Now, the Leafs also signed another guy. His name is Yanni Hakanpana. He's also a teammate of Chris Tanev's from Dallas. Now, Hakanpana, he's a massive defenseman as well. He's 6'7", but he's also a right-handed D. Leafs have been needing right-handed D, of course. They gave him a 2-year deal at $1.5 million per. That's $3 million a year, of course, if you guys do the math. And I like the size of Hakanpana. I don't know very much about him, guys, but I liked what I saw from him. But there was also a report from the Sun, Steve Simmons, reporting that this guy here apparently has no knees left and that he might not be able to play again. So we're going to have to wait and see what happens with this guy, because the report that Simmons laid out was saying that this guy's unable to play anymore. So I don't know what's going on regarding that, but I think that Hakanpana, if he is able to play, he could really help the D-core of the Leafs. He's a big body, physical. Of course, the Leafs have been missing that. Obviously, they had to go get guys like Luke Schenn and Lyubushkin at the trade deadlines in previous seasons to help beef up the D-line. So I like this signing for the Leafs. It's a cheap deal, of course, but we're going to have to wait and see if this guy can even get on the bloody ice compared to what Steve Simmons said, and this guy's injuries, of course. Then the Leafs today, they made 3 signings. They signed Dakota Mermis and Philip Myers and Cedric Pare, all to 1-year deals at $750,000. But Pare's is a 2-way deal. Now, guys, the Leafs needed some depth, of course. Okay, we don't know what's going to happen on the forward lines, of course. The bottom 6, of course, has always been an issue for the Maple Leafs, especially with the core 4. And I don't know what the Leafs are going to do. They're going to have to probably give guys PTOs. They're hoping these guys sure maybe crack the team. Maybe they do something, of course. But when you're paying guys, 4 guys, half the salary cap, what do you expect is going to happen? You're going to have to go and get bargain deals like this, of course, guys. And obviously, speaking about the core 4 guys, nothing yet on Mitch Marner, of course. It seems like nothing's going to happen regarding him. It seems like the Leafs are going to have to play it out with him. He's going to play his final year of his deal. And then we're going to have to wait and see, guys. But, guys, I will say, though, Treliving was very active in the market, of course. Obviously, there was a lot of fans that wanted a guy like Zadorov or Matt Roy. Unfortunately, guys, the Leafs couldn't afford those guys. And Treliving was able to spread the money around a little bit more, of course. That's why he gave Tanev 6 years to spread the money out. And he gave Ekman Larson some term. And he gave him a little bit more extra money. But like I said, guys, the Liljegren deal, I wasn't crazy about. I felt they could have put that towards somebody else, right? But what can you do? Treliving decided to give him the 2 years. So we're going to have to wait and see how things go from there. But, guys, listen, that'll be it for this video, guys. I really liked what I saw from the Leafs in this free agency pool, of course. A lot of free agent signings, massive free agent signings in this free agency. One of the most active NHL free agencies I've seen in a long time, of course. Okay, we saw so many players changing jerseys this summer on July 1st. It's going to be a very interesting NHL season, guys. But I'm looking forward to seeing if something else happens regarding the Leafs this summer. Who knows, guys? Maybe Marner does get traded. I've been hearing some things about Vegas poking around. So who knows? Vegas wasn't able to sign guys like March or so. So they're going to need some scoring tonight. So maybe they make a trade with the Maple Leafs. Who knows, guys? But, guys, that's going to be it for this one, guys. I appreciate you guys for watching. Click like if you like this video. Subscribe if you guys want to see more content, especially regarding the Leafs moving forward this summer, guys. And listen, guys, you guys know the rules. If you do not watch sports, you are more. Ciao, guys.